So I've been cutting shapes and doing a lot of different stuff in my gallery over the last, certainly throughout the month of May to this point here. But another person, good friend of the channel, who has been doing similar things on a much grander wholesale scale, if you like, is Jeremy Magan, host of the Breaking the Lines podcast. Jeremy as well can also be found on YouTube on the French football podcast Casser Le Ligne. The link will be in the description of this video with that, where Jeremy goes through his not just experiences with French football and on Sorare, but his Breaking the Lines podcast is also hosted there. Jeremy, thanks a lot for coming back on the channel. Great to see you, my man. How are you doing?
Good to see you. I'm great. Thanks for having me, Quinny. Always a pleasure being on your channel.
No, pleasure's all mine, buddy. So, this time of year, May, is when everyone kind of gets into that mental headspace of we're going to start doing some trades now. The European offset season, there's going to be dips, there's going to be opportunities. New season cards are coming out in these other regions. We're going to forecast about new licenses. We're going to forecast about new game modes and all that other stuff. This kind of early summer period always feels like a busy time in the market where a lot of Sorare players are going to go out and try and strengthen their gallery, maybe liquidate some assets, upgrade certain areas, whatever. I've been doing that in different pieces and different sections, but you've just went wholesale. And it's funny because the last person I had on the channel to talk about this exact subject is Sojiwa, who's also in Australia. So I don't know if it's something in the water or whatever. But you've just went absolutely wholesale. And, we were chatting before coming on. I found your reasoning for the timing of how you've done it and executed it absolutely fascinating, and a very sensible strategy from yourself. So Jeremy, what prompted the timing of this kind of movement for you?
Well, look, as I've said on the channel before, I've started Sorare about over a year ago now, March 2021. I guess at the first wave of people coming in, and I've started with the knowledge that I had, and I was a bit like, I know about French football, so I can just pick up my cards and do whatever I want. And so it worked for a bit, and then I thought I was pretty happy with my rare gallery. Then the limited arrived, and then so many more players have arrived on the platform, and I've seen basically that what I could do, and I could do all right, was finding players that were somehow underpriced and waiting for the right time to sell them, and that worked well for me for a while. Like I made decent amount of money on what I had, but then I guess somehow, somewhat along what I was doing, I kind of lost track of actually trying to win cards and to put teams in a position where I can get some great results in SO5 and get some rewards. And that's also a nice way to be able to make money if you just get a card for free because your players are playing well. So I did a baby experience, like I think it was back in maybe November or December, where I sold a couple of good rare cards and I built myself a couple of good limited teams, one in Asia, one in France. And I got some rewards that way. The Asian players, by the time I got to the beginning of their season, I could sell them for 5 times the price as well. So then I was like, which one do I keep? Which one do I sell? So I kept doing what I do, right? And then came that last bear market from last week. And I've thought about selling my whole gallery and starting again since the last bear market last year. So it was October or November, I think it was, maybe even before that, where I was like, I'd had a good first 5 months, but if I had gotten that one player who keeps scoring great, or if I had gotten an Ajax stack, or if I had gotten a Bayern stack or a PSG stack, which I'll never do, but if I wanted to get a PSG stack, maybe it could be an opportunity selling a great player and get a stack. And so the second bear market arrives last week, and as we spoke offline, it took me 4 or 5 days of really thinking about it. Thinking about the pros and cons. So for anybody who doesn't know, my gallery was 11.2 ETH just before I sold it off, and I was wondering, where do I go? Do I want to sell that? And then I thought to myself, what? It's always tickled me that I want to sell my whole gallery because I had so many cards. I had 150 limited, 140 rare, and 3 or 4 super rare in there. I had a lot of very good cards, but a few dead cards. And so it's always tickled me that I could just start over again and actually build on quality rather than on quantity. Quantity worked for me. Like I said, I made a bit of money on quite a few cards. I'm sure quality eventually was going to work out for me too. So bear market means that, if you're losing 15% of your ETH, you're not losing as much money you are when you're not in the bear market. So I thought it was an opportunity to, I guess, make the pill a bit easier to swallow. Of course, like I'm not going to hide that I'm in a situation where I can afford this, which is maybe not the case of everyone. So I was happy that I was able to do it, but I'm also pretty comfortable and confident that the money that I was going to lose, I was going to be able to make again. I've looked at how much reward I would have to win to get back there. I've counted how many thresholds I need to win to be able to get back there, and then I decided to build a team where I can actually get there. So once I've sold everything, I had 9.3, I think, what was the end result, and in there, I thought, all right, now I can build a team. And then, unfortunately for me, another train of thought came to my mind, was like, oh, do I buy my cards now, or do I wait until the market changes again, and then my 9 ETH is worth much more, and then I can hit some great cards. But same thing, I thought about it for a few hours, kind of overnight, and then I told myself, why, you know what, you might as well. I'm somebody who likes to challenge myself for stuff. My kid went to school. I told myself, between the moment I drop my kid and the moment I pick him back up, I have to have a team. I have to have like 2/3 of my ETH spent, and then maybe I keep 1/3 for when the ETH is back up, or maybe not.
Uh-huh.
And so that's what I did. It took me about a whole day to look at it. Obviously, having played in the game for a long time, I had some players that I had always tabs on that I really wanted to have on my team, regardless of what was happening. I had some players that I knew had a pretty good future, whatever happens in the next couple of months. I had some players that I had viewed on because the World Cup is coming at the end of the year. And then I had some players that I knew could be, could be good little additions that people might not see coming, but that their value 100% is going to get higher in a couple of months as well. So I gathered my thoughts. I saw the players that I wanted. Obviously, before that, I had seen that with 9.5, I can make myself 4 teams in limited and 4 teams in rare, which is what I wanted to do. And then I just pulled the trigger. So with the teams that I have now, yeah, I can do All Star rare, All Star, sorry, America rare, Asia rare, and Europe rare, and same in limited. And in limited, I have that and some, so I can be part of the special weeks as well. And then I'll see where that brings me. At first, I decided to take quite a bit of America and Asia, which is, not the cheapest right now, but I thought at least I can get some rewards for the next couple of months. And then for probably the last 3 ETH that I have, I went Europe, 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 and hopefully there are players that are either going to get me results and points in September, or sorry, actually it starts in July this year, right? Or that the value is going to go up, and then I'll be able to resell. And so then we'll go through my cards, I'm sure, a little bit, but a few players I decided to buy two of, one that I'll keep, one that I'll sell. And then hopefully the one that I keep can give me some point. The one that I sell, I'm fairly certain most of them, bar any injuries, the value is going up before the start of the next season.
Yeah. And it's that whole, like, when the bear market comes on, like, there's opportunities with all these things, coinciding that with a European dip, like you're saying. When you take, this time of the year, when these market opportunities come up, like you said, you were kicking yourself in the past, like, oh, why didn't I get a couple of Ajax cards, or just get a Lewandowski or an Mbappe or something like that, and it's that kind of hindsight of having been through a bear market or a bull market, once you've been through some of these cycles. And it's really, what I found really interesting about it is, I've kind of went down that path in a few different ways, a few different times. And I'm, with some of the cards I've sold recently, I felt the exact same as you. You get a lump of ETH in, like, I raised about 2 ETH in like a day or something like that from selling some cards, a limited talent for 0.9, because like when the bear market came in, like, I acquired my limited talent. And again, this is quite a similar opportunity, like, in a trade, and at the time he was valued at an ETH. And then when Celtic and everything came out, I thought, right, I'll sell Haaland limited. He's liquid. That's what I had him for, was like a bit of liquid. At any time, I can really sell him in a couple of hours and get like a chunk, But I went to the market and he was at 0.6. And I was like, shit, that's not the plan. Like, I was hoping to get a bit more for him. I was like, right, well, it doesn't make sense to sell. I'll keep him. But anyway, fast forward to 2 weeks or something, we're in a bear market. The City transfer has been announced, and I managed to get 0.9 for him. So it's like these opportunities, like it might be a negative thing to a section of your gallery or a section of the market or a part of the landscape or whatever. But these opportunities come in different forms and different sizes at different times, and it's about pulling the plug on them. And like it might sound stupid, like, oh, I sell somebody like Haaland at the end of the season when the Man City transfer has just been done, but like 2 weeks ago he was half the price. Like, now's a good time to sell for me, because that 0.9, it kind of pays for my Joe Hart and my Greg Taylor that I bought a month ago, or it kind of pays for some of the MLS stuff I'm picking up now. And because you've done it wholesale, like, you do have that burden when you get 9 ETH in your wallet. You're like, oh, what if you wake up tomorrow and ETH is $2,000 again? Or what if you
Yeah,
wake up in 3 days from now and ETH is this? Or what if you wake up tomorrow and it's 70 quid, and you've then got a whole other dimension of decision making and headaches and probabilities to like,
for sure.
oh, what's going on here? And that's how, like, I found all that fascinating when we were talking about before coming on, because it's a section of decision making that we all wrestle with, but we don't really necessarily talk about as much because it's like it's so fleeting, because now we're talking about ETH being in a bear market, but if it stays at this price for another week or so, it'll just feel like the price of ETH,
Yeah,
like it'll just feel normal again. And it's like, it'll feel like, oh yeah, ETH was amazing when it was, like 3 weeks ago. That was the great, good old days, like it's so, it's so short term, it's so immediate. A lot of these things that we live and die on. But again, how like so my kind of attitude with that stuff quite often is like, if I'm not selling the things to have ETH for the sake of having ETH, and I've done that before, but on this occasion I wasn't. I was selling the Haaland and some of the other cards that I won't go into, but like I was selling them to get ETH to get other cards. So
hmm
the objective is to get cards. The objective isn't for me to get ETH or pound notes with that trade. But when you've got so much ETH, you can maybe do a few things, and it opens a lot of paths. In terms of like, let's say it took you 4 days to do the whole turnaround, all the stuff we're talking about in terms of currency fluctuations, of those 4 days, how much time percentage wise of the 4 days would you say you spent on that?
I'm a pretty pragmatic person, and I guess I also, without going too much into it, like I also like to think that I know myself and that I know when I'm the most productive and when my thoughts are the best. So basically, it was like an hour in the morning, an hour at night, but like literally a full hour where from waking up, being on my phone before my family wakes up, have the 20 minutes or so in my shower before, after, where I know that my thoughts are clear, where I know that I can think about those things and see what I want to do, and it's not going to be interrupted. Really thinking about this, and then the same thing in the evening, basically, and then the moment where I eat, where I know I like to eat in silence. So then, moments where my thoughts are going to be uninterrupted and where I can really try and weigh the pros and cons. There was one thing as well that I didn't think about it before, but when I first thought about selling my full gallery, my gallery was worth, I think it was worth 10 ETH sharp, because I told myself when I'm at 10 ETH, I stop putting any money in there. And then I'll just work with what I have, because until then I was buying cards whenever I thought that there was an opportunity. But then when I went to 10 ETH, I was like, I'm not going to buy anymore. But then without doing anything, my gallery went up to 11.5 without even my player really performing. And that was the bear market kind of like starting to show up or whatever. So then when I went there and I was like, when I was at 10 ETH, I wanted to sell, but I told myself I'm not going to sell now because I don't want to go back to 8 kind of thing. But now I didn't do much. The gallery went up. And if I sell, I'm kind of back at 10
Yeah,
minus 0.7, sure. Um, but I'm kind of back where I was when I first thought I could sell, but I feel like I'd lose too much. Then I was like, sure, I'll do it. But yeah, it was like, back to your question, for those 4 days, it was, yeah, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night, a bit of time in the middle. So, like maybe a 12 hour reflection. And one morning I'd woke up and I'll be like, what am I thinking about? I'm not going to sell anything because I had Florian Wirtz in my gallery. I had and Guessin, well, I took him back, but I had some players that I knew were going to have a very good value in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months time. I had a bunch of young kids from friends that I know are going to have a great value in maybe a year. And then I thought, no, what am I doing? I'll just sell it one by one and I'll make more money. And then the day after I wake up and I'd be like, if I think about it, I have an opportunity to do something that I've always wanted to do, which is learning from my mistakes, and owning the mistakes that I've made in my first year of playing Sorare, and those emotional mistakes where I see a player that I've seen play a couple of times and I really want it, but I know that he's not the best SO5 scorer, but he's a good football player. So I'll get that guy. But then I'm like, fuck, he's just never scoring what I want him to score. And now he's just on my gallery sitting doing nothing. Those mistakes, at one point, I was like, you know what, I can learn from those mistakes and I can start over. And to be perfectly honest as well, the French football podcast is kind of doing okay on breaking the lines, and I had done a couple of videos back on my channel that I had like abandoned for 2-3 months or something. And I had a bit of traction, and I thought, you know what, if I do this now as well, now that I have time to make videos, that's going to be an awesome video to explain to people what it is to do a rebuild, what it kind of costed me, what I have now, what I had before, the process of doing it, the players that I decided to go for. And actually, I engaged with a couple of people in comments, which was very interesting because they've called me out on a couple of things that probably I got too excited about. But I love this because I like to learn about this. I think not a lot of times in my Sorare career or my career maybe, you have a chance to say, actually, right now I can learn from my mistakes and start over, but start fresh, completely fresh, clean slate. And what it's going to cost me, I can definitely make it back soon enough
Yeah,
because I know what I can do. And so I decided to go for it, to keep the fun in the game, of course, to take players that I actually can watch a bit more than what maybe I had before, and also to try and change my strategy, and basically to also as an experiment, seeing if I can make as much money in that strategy that I've made in the other strategy.
for sure. I'm with you. I was just sorry. I had another thought going off there, and then I lost it. And then I'm sorry.
What's your train of thoughts right now? You said it, end of the European League or whatever. Are you of the mind of you need to have your team for America and Asia for the next 2 months to survive per se, like to keep it interesting and da 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 da? Or are you thinking there's those few players I can buy and they're going to be great next year, or I'm going to sell them for a better price in 2 months?
So most of the players I'm been kind of picking up, I'm looking for immediate utility because like especially my American region cards, like I've been doing self harm to that section of my gallery for the last like 6 months, just selling them. As soon as I need ETH to go and get like, I've done a lot of big purchases this year, and it came off the back of I think relatively good like timely sales. I'm never at the top of things when I'm selling, but I'm definitely accustomed to selling things when they're good, because that's unfortunately the best way to, because like you were saying, this is again another one of the parts I found what you're talking about fascinating in terms of like the bear market and whatever. Because I've done this as well, but it's great that there's a great example right in front of us happened like yesterday, kind of idea. If you really valued your gallery circa 10 ETH, the bear market pushes the fiat price, just to really lay this out, pushes the fiat price of the ETH down, which then subsequently to most people on the market, particularly with limiteds, pushes their ETH price up. So it goes from being a 10 ETH gallery to being an 11 ETH gallery, let's say, or something like that. You then go and say to somebody, I'll sell you my gallery for 15% off. To you receive 9.3 ETH. You've got it valued at 10. You've only lost 7%, whereas the other man thinks he's picking up 15, and he is picking up 15 at today's price, yada yada. But and sorry, I'm laying that out to explain that, just to make clear to everyone else. I'm just trying to get myself back on track because like I've been going out and selling things one at a time, kind of as and when I need to. Like Johnny Russell, I sold him in like December, and I thought I got about half an ETH, and I thought I've done great. But I think he's maybe sold at 0.7s and stuff like that, maybe a bit higher. But I'm very much prepared to sell one thing at a time when it's ripe and when it's ready. And in terms of when you're talking about, I'm back on track. In terms of when you're talking about like correcting your mistakes, I think you'd probably agree with this. I don't think you made any mistakes. I don't think anyone on Sorare makes mistakes in terms of the players they're buying. but it's the percentage of your capital that you're proportioning towards like guys that'll be good tomorrow. It's 50% of your gallery, maybe it should be 10%. You know, backup goalkeepers is like 5%, but maybe that should be 15% because they're actually really good ammo to sell shit on later in the future or whatever. Would I be right in maybe saying that? Because you did buy some guys back, didn't you?
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Like, yet I don't think I've used the word mistakes, but I don't think of anything in terms of
Uh,
mistakes anyway. Like, it's an opportunity to do something better. But you're right.
Oh
It's
no,
the
no, I
percentage of
agree. But it's like it's just that focus you get, isn't it? From your like, yeah, I went too overboard with some of those guys, or do you know what? I really put too much of my stuff into Asia, and I can't even watch the football there, or you know, whatever it is, you know, basically. But that's what I find most of the time is what, especially when people are watching guys and buying guys that they know and they like. It's more a case of just like, just not enough of them are ready to fight today. I need some more guys that can go on the front line and get me an extra 30 points this game week because I was 20 points off the prizes and really blah, blah, blah. You know, you kind of going from there. And when you went out and, you know, I watched the stream when you were showing us how you put the gallery back together. Part of the way you've went around trying to get some of that, like I'm happy to sell stuff when it's ripe, but you're kind of trying to, you know that's the best time yourself to do it. And to save yourself the pain of that decision, you've just went and bought some multiples to make that a bit easier to happen next time around. Again, is learning from, you know, like, because you know what it's like when you've got a guy on your hands and they're hot and they're bumping him, you're like, I just cannot sell them, but I need them so badly.
Yeah, and I think it's I guess same thing is something that you learn, right? What happened to me with Sean Johnson this season. I bought him in December, and I bought him, I want to say 0.4, and then 2 months later he's at 0.9, and I
Yep.
was like, there's no way I keep that guy. So I sold
Yeah.
him, but by selling him, I don't have any keeper, any rare keeper in America anymore, and the next rare keeper who's not even half as good as Sean Johnson is at 0.7. So now I'm crushed and I can't have him anymore. So I had getting like Talavera in Mexico who's 40 years old or something like that. So I think yeah, it's like I've seen players and I was like, those players, it'd be hard for me to let them go when the price is good. I'll just get two. I'll just get
Yeah.
two Milik and I'll just get two two Ulichenko. So then when they go, and I feel good about myself, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It does come at a bit of jeopardy, but as you're telling me for this game week, you know, Maxi Morales brought the house of cards down this game week, didn't he? You know, so there's
Exactly.
definitely two sides to the coin, but it's one of these things that when it comes good, you've got multiple SO5 entries kicking ass because the guy's going away, and then you've got a bit of liquid. You know, you've got the limited talent. You've got something that's liquid you can drop into the market to get you for any other point for any other kind of reason or strategy kind of thing. And the way, like, because I've been selling off stuff like in America, like back when, you know, I started really selling off stuff in America like January, February, and then I started selling some more stuff off, I think like April time. When the market feels a bit vibrant and buoyant in Asia, I didn't really ever have much there. I just kind of sold them through as they've been peaky. But now I need to buy those things back. I need to make the decision of like, what do I sell off? And what I've actually found myself doing over the last 6 months, kind of deliberately, but also I haven't really intended it to work out the way it has as well as it has. But like I've been storing a lot of my value in limiteds quietly and slowly over the last 6 months when I've had like odd ends on my balance. I'd go and buy a limited rookie, just anyone who was on my short list. Like he's got an auction in 3 hours, put a bid on, you know, get an arc. Oh, do you know what? I should really maybe do a bit more with limiteds. I'll go buy an inter bundle, cost like 0.1 or something like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll buy our goalkeeper because I need one. And then that slow store of value, I then turn around and look at it, and my gallery was in dire need. Similar to you, I sold Sean Johnson and Jonathan Bond to fund my Callum McGregor unique, but I have no goalkeepers in America. Zero, nada, none. You know, that is like self harm at the highest order. I got a Fragapane this week, right? And I've got an auction that'll be closing in 27 minutes for Klamala. We'll see if I win it. But before those two guys, I have no rare champion America forwards, like none. It's been totally cut off. So I don't have multiples where I can just go and like cast off stuff. The guys I still have, they've went through the sieve of who I can sell so many times, and I've still got them. And it's like I cannot sell them now. Like they've resisted so many sell-offs. They've went through so many times where I've evaluated the gallery, weighed up pros and cons of who might come good and who I might need and who I bought at a great price and who can still go on to. And I've still got them, so I really can't sell them anymore. But I turn around, bear market, like you're saying the now, some of these limiteds, maybe I overpaid for some of them at the time, who knows? I can now look at them and go, I've got liquid to go into the market and rebuild and restructure my gallery around and, kind of plug the holes that I had to make the kind of handbrake turn on earlier on. And as much as when with your gallery, if you just held off for 3 months, like if you were patient, you could have rode a kind of wee bull market potentially with Champion Euro when it comes back into season a bit more and yada yada. But it's the opportunity cost of these things. You've taken the decision that you're going to sell a bit of time basically. It's cost you 7%, which is great, I think, to be honest with you, is very
Yeah.
economical. And with me, I've kind of gambled on like immediate term. I might not be able to pull some stuff off, but I had to I've always been kind of like over the last 5 months, especially like fighting announcements or fighting immediate term circumstances. Like Celtic come on, MLS come on with shirts, or there's I bought a lot of super rares and I got a unique in Champion Euro because I felt that market was like really on its knees and I thought there was a great opportunity there. I'm not ready to sell those cards yet, but I really don't need them yet, So you're selling time, I'm selling utility, basically, with some of these things. Like I could have done with a Johnny Russell, a Jonathan Bond, and a Sean Johnson for the last month. They would have been fucking great for me, as well as a Chicharito and this one and that one and whoever else. And it's funny how we've both kind of got into it. I'd probably say you're much more purpose built for the next 6 months than I am currently. I'm kind of skating by on, again, a decision I made early on. I decided like in this European off season, I was only going to play in All-Star Rare Pro, All-Star Rare, Under 23 Rare Pro, and hopefully Champion America Rare Pro, and then Specialist Limited if I throw that in. So 5 divisions. That's all I wanted. That's all I really want a contingent for, which isn't much. But I'm sacrificing what I did last summer, which I was all over the place with D2s and D4s everywhere, splashing over, and America was great for me. But I'm sacrificing my immediate time in the other sense, that utility to then hopefully it'll pay back off for me in Europe. But there's more than one way to skin the cat, Jeremy, isn't there? What is your kind of horizon then when you kind of look at what you've built with this gallery? It's valued at, let's just say, 9.5 ETH. And you've kind of went into building for, obviously, we've spoken about the immediate term stuff you've got in Champion in Asia. But when you have put the full thing together, when do you see the big payoff when it's going to be all singing and dancing and everything's going in your way?
I think the way I build the gallery and my with the knowledge and experience that I have, and hopefully it's not too bad. I think I saw 2 or 3 moments where the gallery is going to peak a little bit. One of those moments will be when Europe comes back. I've taken players like Leandro Paredes, who I thought is dirt cheap right now, and he plays for Paris, so people are going to love him when he's back. The goalkeeper from the FC Köln, no one cares about FC Köln, but next year they're going to wake up and realize that Köln is actually playing the Conference League, and in the Conference League they're going to be one of the best teams. So I have their goalkeeper, and I got 2 of them, so then I can sell one, keep one. And also that moment will happen with the MLS teams still playing and still going up. And then there's going to be the end of the season of the MLS when there's less and less teams playing. That's when people are happy to spend a bit more for the few players that are in the playoff. The players that I've got from the MLS are all making the playoffs, or almost all making the playoffs. So that's going to be a nice payoff for me. And just after that, the World Cup coming up. And so I got a few players in there that are going to be playing the World Cup as well. So I try to think about those things, players that we know the value will go up, like Griezmann, who's 0.5 right now, which is weird because when he plays for France, he's going to be the best player in the team almost. And players like this that I know will be important. Crépeau, the goalkeeper from Canada. Canada has a real chance this year. Things like that. So I saw myself, there's 3 moments where the value is going to go up, and I need to be here at those 3 moments to make sure that I can sell them when it matters, the one that I want to sell. And next to that, of course, the team that I've built, hopefully, in the meantime, are going to actually get me thresholds get me rewards. It's I've taken a few players from LAFC because on my former gallery, those players have gotten me rewards. I've taken Cecilia and some boys from Kawasaki Frontale because in my former gallery, they got me some good results as well. So I also did stuff that I had done that had worked in the past. I didn't like restart everything new. And then I tried to I didn't forget about any emotions, but I tried to put the emotions on the side a little bit for this gallery to try and see, what it would work. Like the only player that I asked from the guy who got my gallery to get back was Kwame and
Kwame.
Guessant, because there's only one card who's been made from this guy, and the guy was actually nice enough. We went back to the gallery. When I saw him leaving, I was a bit like, ugh. And he went back to the gallery and he was like, "Oh, hey mate, I got your Nguessan, and there was only one of one. Do you want to get him back?" And I was like, "Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely, I'll buy him back." So besides that, I think there's three moments in the near to far future where those players are going to be worth something. There's also in that gallery like a good 20-25% of players that are just 19, 20, 21, 22. And so the future is bright for those guys. And, Sandro Tonali is in there, and Noble Okielo from Toronto, who isn't playing because he's injured or out of form, but he's one of the up and coming talents in the MLS. Where their value is just going to go up. And if the value doesn't go up, regardless, when they play, they get good results. So it'll work for me either way. So I try to use as much knowledge as I had to try and make everything kind of work nicely together.
Yeah, it's just definitely a bit of a juggling act, isn't it? When you've got so much, like, I guess a lot of people would envy that opportunity to go like with 9 ETH and just go through the market, and just pick up, get a wee Ajax defender, wee Bayern midfielder, and just go around and have your way with it. But you do have to do these things with, like, because you've been through a few cycles. You say you've taken your bumps, you've learned don't want to say learned the ropes, but you kind of know like how it works. That's why you've bought doubles of some of these guys. You know that playing goalkeepers with midweek utility will have their day in the sun, and when they have their day in the sun, you've got two. And it's
I had Ajax players in my head, and I didn't get one, zero, because every player that I look at, I was like, too expensive for what it is. I
yeah,
don't know if he's going to be in Ajax next year. If he's not in Ajax, he's not going to play as good. Ajax might recruit this guy instead of that. And then I did my head in, and I was like, I don't want to think about yes or not. I want to get players that I know it's a 75 to 80% yes when I get them. And I couldn't get that with an Ajax player that was affordable.
yeah. Fair enough. I said something similar on. I did John's Meet the Manager video when we were in Spain. That's what I said. So I think Ajax are going to be, if Ten Hag leaves, which he is. They potentially could like fall on their face. That team, those stacks. Timber leaves. Gravenberch is already off. He's a big part of that stack necessarily. Haller might
Mm-hmm.
be leaving.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see for sure. But no, it is funny because you do go like whenever I've had big wallets to go into the market and think, oh, I'll do this or I'll do that. You do kind of start off with, do you know what? I'm just going to get a fucking weapon. I'm going to go and get, the best defender, the best guy for this situation or whatever. And then you look at it and it's just sometimes like, I don't need to spend that much. Like,
How
I could
much does it
maybe get this other guy and get two of them, and then,
how much does it hurt if you get Mbappe, he goes to Real Madrid and doesn't play well?
I don't see that happening, but yeah, I get the point
Neither, but
totally.
yeah.
There's a lot of transfer pain that does go around, and yeah, especially like in these types of moves, like the guys I'm picking up. I picked up, we're talking. I've already mentioned some names, but I picked up a Fragapane, right? So Fragapane is 29, right? I don't really see for the next like year or two, see for as long as he's got a contract in MLS till he's like 30, 31 or whatever. I don't really need to worry about his life changing too much. Like he's probably going to play for Minnesota. If he doesn't, he'll be playing for like a mid-table Argentinian league team, which is fine. He's a winger, blah blah blah. Because when you are going through these market trades and whatever, and you're trying to take an opportunity of something that's so uncertain as a bear market, whether it be an ETH or Sorare, if you want to limit the amount of potential downside or room for error that you possibly have, and that's why, like when we were talking, maybe when we were recording earlier, But like that first like wave when you went into the market, there was guys you'd already been earmarking, and yeah, this guy for next season, and that guy's price is looking pretty decent. And there was those ones that that even if I've got this 5% wrong on the price, 10% wrong on the price, I'll still be happy with that guy in my team, because that 5 or 10% of error, or whatever it is, 2%, 50%, doesn't matter, is going to be outweighed by, I just know that guy works and that guy's going to hit next year. There's no big transfer question marks, injury, debility, whatever. How long, yeah. I was going to ask you something, but I think we already went over it. I love that. Aye.
I think it's for anybody who's wondering, like, do you do it, do you not do it? I think like what we covered, right? It's about look at your gallery, look at how you feel about your gallery. Do you feel like you got the right 80-20 kind of situation? How many are working for you now, how many are not working for you, and you don't know if they'll ever work or not. And then if you find the right moment, then it works for you. And if you can see almost the stars aligning to go for it, do it. It's obviously a something that it's half painful in one side of your head, and you have to use the other side of the head to reassure yourself. It's also it's thrilling to have 9.5 ETH and to just know that it's not money that you want to get out right now and that you want to put them back in players. And so you go like 0.5, yep, 0.5, yep, 0.6, yep, 0.5, yep. And then I was like, oh wow, I guess I'm in a supermarket. Then you look at your ETH again, you're like, okay, I need to slow down. I need to look at what I'm doing. But it's fun to do it, and hopefully now I'll see if I'm good at it or not. Obviously there'll be quite a few follow-up videos of if I do get rewards, how long it takes me to get rewards, and how long it takes me to go back to where I was. This week hasn't been great. As you mentioned, I had Maximiliano Morales captain in 3 of my squad, and I didn't look at it enough to know that he wasn't actually going to play. And then I got 2 players who picked up a red card this week. Saloy, who scored a brace and then gets a red card. And the defender, I can't remember that, Trusty as well, got a red card. So yeah, like some days it'll work, some days it won't. I know some teams like the Asian teams and all that, they'll have some game weeks where they're going to just crack it out. So I'm pretty comfortable with what that squad ends up being.
Same. I look forward to seeing it as well as it comes out on the channel, and as well. I think we kind of touched on it earlier, but these market moves, like that's kind of the pros and the cons, the opportunity cost you're weighing up is you're buying or selling time depending on which side of the transaction you're on, or you're buying or selling utility again depending on which side of the transaction you're on, and it's about weighing up what opportunity is optimal for you right now. Like for me, like I couldn't sell my whole gallery. Like emotionally, I'd probably be in bed for a week afterwards. Because some of these cards are like pretty special to me at this point, to be honest. But so like for me, it's always about selling pieces. So it's one of these things. I hope anyone who's watched this and listened to this has had fun. Maybe learn something, had a laugh, whatever. Be sure to check out Jeremy's YouTube channel. It'll be linked in the description of this video down below. Go drop him a sub. Go check out the stream where he goes through the gallery rebuild, as much more. Jeremy, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thanks a lot for taking time out your busy schedule to join me.
I'm very happy that I wasn't there. Thanks for giving me the chance to talk about it, and thanks for plugging the video as well. And anybody who's listening to that, just subs to Quinny's channel as well. There's a lot of good content coming out, man. Well done.
Thanks very much, man. Take care. Stay out of trouble.
You too.